It's Lent, so we're not eating meat on Fridays. So I'm going to make some pasta salad. Come make pasta salad with me. So we're going to start with some black olives, a red onion, a block of mild cheddar, some feta cheese, some rotini noodles, some green olives, some clamato olives, cucumbers, and Roma tomatoes. I did decide as well to add in some pesto. This Target pesto is so good. And I didn't show it here, but I'm also going to add some jarred red peppers. So I'm going to start by boiling my water. And once my water is boiled, I'm going to add in the rotini noodles. Give it a good stir so the noodles don't stick. I'm going to lower the heat once I put in the noodles, just a little bit, and then I'm going to add in some olive oil. I'm going to let that cook, and once it's done cooking, I'm going to drain the pasta. I'm not going to rinse the pasta. That's just a personal preference with my pasta salad. I don't. I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil so that my pasta doesn't stick. I need the noodles to be cool before I add in the other ingredients. I'm actually going to sit this bowl on top of a bowl of ice before I put it in the refrigerator just to get it cooled down. But before I do that, I'm going to add in the pesto. That's going to be the only ingredients that I add before it cools. I'm just going to give a good few spoonfuls of that pesto. And that Target pesto is really good. I really like it. We're going to stir that, and then in a separate bowl, I'm going to start combining my other ingredients. We're going to start with the easy stuff, the black olives. I prefer whole olives, but you don't have to use them. Then I'm going to use green olives. I have sliced green olives. I would prefer the whole ones. It's just a personal preference of mine. Then I'm going to add in the clamato olives, and then I'm going to give that a good mix. I'm just kind of mixing the ingredients as I go along, just because it makes it easier when it's all mixed together in the end. Here's the jar of red peppers. I've used these in several videos, but I forget to tell you that they come in big slices if you use the jar red peppers. So if you want them smaller, you're going to have to cut them. That is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be taking a few out, and then I'm going to just cut them into smaller pieces. I love red peppers from a jar. They have like an olive oil base. It's so good, and it's also great in pasta salad because it gives a little bit more oil so everything doesn't stick together. Red peppers are really expensive. I think the jar of red peppers is like $3. Okay, now I'm going to give that another mix once I add in those red peppers. Next, we're going to do our cheeses. I'm just going to dice this up into tiny little pieces, which I've done. And I'm going to again put it in the bowl, and we're going to mix that together. Once I give that a good mix, I am going to go to the next cheese, which is going to be feta. But before I do that, I'm setting aside some pasta in this little tiny bowl. There we go, with a little bit of pesto. And this one I'm just putting cheese on. I'll put some feta and some cheddar on it. That's going to be for my toddlers. So now let's add in the feta in our mix. And then once I mix that, I'm going to give it a good stir. This is the one for the babies. Once I have my feta, I'm going to start getting ready to do my vegetables. I'm going to start by using the chopper I got from Amazon. I love this thing. I say this in every video. If you get one of these, be so careful with your fingers because this thing is super sharp. I start by cutting my onion into 4 pieces. It just makes it easier, and Roma tomatoes into halves. Then you're going to take one of those quarters of onions. Now this, you have to put some muscle into it. It is not just easy push down because you can see I didn't push it hard enough, so it didn't get it all the way. It'll get kind of stuck, so you have to make sure you push hard enough. Sometimes when I'm using this, it feels like I'm throwing my shoulder out. But regardless, I'll take this any day over actually having to dice up onions into a million little pieces. This is a 10 out of 10. So this is what one whole onion makes a lot of these little tiny pieces. Now let's do our tomatoes. I'm doing 2 Roma tomatoes, and I actually went back and did a 3rd one just to balance it out a little more with the onions. I am not going to need all this onion and tomato, so I'm going to be making tacos tomorrow, so I'm going to save about half of the mixture for tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and put half of it into our bowl, and then again we're going to give it a good mix. Now let's start doing our cucumber. I'm going to peel it and dice it up. And then once I have that, I'm going to again add it to our mixture and give it a good stir. I've had my pasta salad in the refrigerator for about 45 minutes to an hour. So it's good to go ahead and put the rest of the vegetables and ingredients in and mix. You just don't want to do it before when the pasta is hot because it'll melt your cheese. It'll also make your vegetables a little soggy. The pasta salad's done. It's going back in the fridge until dinner's ready. And now I'm going to call it bruschetta, but it isn't bruschetta because this isn't how you make bruschetta. I'm just using some ingredients that I have left over and putting it on bread and toasting it in the oven. So we're going to start by slicing up the bread. We're going to get out a baking sheet, set it on the baking sheet, add on some garlic butter. I have a little bit of burrata left, so on a few of these, I'm going to put a piece of burrata. Then I'm going to also add on some sun-dried tomato pesto. Love this stuff. It's my favorite. Leave 2 of them empty for my toddlers, and we'll just add mozzarella to those. I'm going to add in some feta cheese because I had some leftover feta. And then I am going to add in some mozzarella on the ones that are for my toddlers, and a few of the other ones I'm just going to add a little bit of mozzarella too. And I decided to put some onions and tomatoes on a couple of them as well. I'm going to heat that in the oven on 350 for about 10 minutes just to get the bread nice and toasty and the cheese melty. These are the little trays I made for my toddlers. I made them burgers, pasta salad, and this is what I had for myself. So that was a meat-free dinner for myself for Lent. So good.